Hey guys, Christian here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be working on the F30, aka the clapper. And just like the last video, we're going to try to modify this car on a budget. If you guys missed the last episode, we dropped some H&R springs onto the car to give it a more aggressive stance, lower the ride height, and increase performance. This time we're going to move on to the interior. So here's what the interior of my F30 335 looks like. The two things I'm looking to address is one, the steering wheel. If you guys can see the top here, even after a deep clean and scrubbing the hell out of it, we really couldn't revive it 100%. So we're gonna just swap that out and take the easy way out with a custom one. The other thing that I'm looking to address is the wood trim that you guys see here on the door handle, the vents, and around the dashboard here. This is an M Sport package, and the wood trim just doesn't really give it a sporty look. So we're gonna try to address that today, of course on a budget. So we're not gonna replace these trims. We're more so gonna enhance them and make them look better. And yes, before anybody decides to say anything, the iDrive display is pretty damn clapped. I'm looking to upgrade that in a future video to an aftermarket head unit similar to the ones that I put on the E46 M3 and on the E90 335, which is back there. I'll cover that in a future video, and hopefully I'll start selling them on my website as well, since it's something you guys are always interested in getting for your car. Here's everything we're going to use for the interior of the F30 today. We have a custom steering wheel from Auto Wheel. I'll show you guys what that looks like here in a bit. We got vinyl wrap. This is what's going to transform the interior of the car on a budget. Instead of replacing the entire trim, we're just gonna overlay it with this vinyl wrap. I decided to go with a very interesting color that I normally wouldn't choose. This is like a gunmetal brushed steel vinyl wrap. It has a texture to it. You can even see the texture. It's pretty cool. Definitely looks different in person than what it looks like in pictures. So it should be interesting what the final results are going to look like. But it did have really good reviews. That's why I decided to do it. And it kept things on a budget. It's less than $15 to get 5 foot by 1.5 foot size roll, which should be enough for the trims on the driver's side door, passenger side, and the trims on the dashboard and the center console. I doubt I'm gonna have enough for the back, but that's okay. And the last thing we have here is a heat gun. It's the same one I purchased 4 years ago when I first wrapped the interior trim on my E93. OG viewers will remember that. This is very inexpensive. You can buy it on Amazon. I'll have links to all of this down in the video's description below, including this custom steering wheel from Auto Wheel. These guys are absolutely amazing. They make custom steering wheels for all models, all brands, not just BMWs, even though they're pretty good at making custom steering wheels for BMWs. My specific one, they really nailed it. We have perforated leather on the left and right side, Alcantara on the bottom and the top, and we have the M color stitching on the inside. This looks super boss, and I really can't wait to install it onto the F30. So here's the scoop, guys. Normally I would remove the trim so I can wrap it more efficiently and I can get around the edges really well. But the F30 trim doesn't seem to be as complicated as the E90 one. There's not a lot of surface space. You have this silver part here that I'm not gonna wrap, and there's only this portion here. So I'm gonna attempt to wrap right on the dashboard, right here on the center console, on the air vent. This one might be a little bit challenging, and of course the ones on the door handles. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to do it on the car. It's my first time doing it this way, but I feel like it'll save me a lot of time, and I think the results will be equally as good.
Talking about not having enough free time, people always tend to ask me about my gains. What gains? These gains. Well, I go to the gym and lift weights, but most importantly, I try to eat clean. Easier said than done. I know it's really hard trying to find free time in a busy day to cook and prep good meals. Well, I have a solution, and it's called Factor, which happens to be today's video sponsor.
Factor offers over 27 fully cooked meals to choose from, with new menus available every week. The meals are cooked by real chefs and delivered fresh to your door. That's right, never frozen. You have all types of options like seafood, vegetarian, vegan, keto, low calorie, beef, chicken, you name it. Getting a meal ready to eat is super easy. Just puncture the protective film, heat it up in the microwave or oven, and that's about it. A fully cooked, smart meal ready for you to enjoy, and it only takes about 2 minutes. That's even faster than ordering takeout.
All right, so here's what we got. Caprese chicken with quinoa, mozzarella, and basil balsamic vinaigrette. I think that's how you say it. All right, let's give it a shot. Oh my. That's a win. That's a win. By the way, this sauce right here, when you dip the chicken into it, is truly magical.
No mess, no cleanup, and the best part, no dirty dishes. Head to go.factor75.com/vehiclevirals120 and use code vehiclevirals120 to get $120 off. Again, that's go.factor75.com/vehiclevirals120 and use code vehiclevirals120 to get $120 off, or just use the link down in the description below. Huge thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is remove the old steering wheel since we're gonna swap it out anyways. I already disconnected the battery. And this should give you more space to work on the dashboard trim. Once you pop out the airbag, you got this very easy kind of push connector to pull out. And there you go. That should take the airbag out. 17 mil for the steering wheel bolt. I'm gonna go ahead and sit this steering wheel right here until I'm ready to install the new one, because I'm gonna have to transfer over the hardware like the buttons and the trim here for the steering wheel. We'll take care of that later on. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping the trim. All right, so the first thing to do is to prep the surface. No, this is not Windex. This is 70% alcohol. I'll go ahead and prep the surface for the trims to make sure that the vinyl wrap is gonna stick to it very well. This essentially gets rid of all the oils, all the grime, stuff that you normally wouldn't even be able to see. But check it out, nasty. The good thing about using the 70% alcohol is that it dries up immediately as well. Not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this door handle here since it's cracked down the middle and it looks like it's separating. I think I might try to wrap over it and just see if it covers it, since it's matte and it's kind of darker. We'll see. This center console trim is miles better than the E90X one. That pretty much is one big piece with cutouts in the middle, and it's definitely one that I recommend you completely remove from the car to wrap it the right way. Real quick, if you guys are F30 fans and haven't picked up an epic F30 shirt from my website, tisk. Help support the clapper build. Remember, this car will most likely be a giveaway car. So the more you guys help support the build, the better the parts, the happier the giveaway winner will end up being. Here, I'll make things a little bit sweeter. For every single person that purchases a t-shirt within the next 24 hours of this video going live, you'll get this jet tag for free that preaches maintenance first and the back. You'll get this totally for free. It normally costs $10 on the website. Purchase any t-shirt and you'll get one of these. I'll leave a link to all the t-shirts down in the description below. So here's how much vinyl wrap we have. Again, 5 foot by 1.5 foot. It pretty much covers the entire roof of the F30 for size perspective. Overlaps just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and portion it out. I'm probably gonna only have the opportunity to attempt each trim piece once, and there's no room for any mistake because there's just enough to do the front section of the car. But since I've done this before, I do kind of have the experience to do it somewhat the right way. Anyways, we'll see. What I ended up doing is I cut the vinyl wrap in sections for each trim within the interior. So I cut a section for this one. On the other side, you can see them here on the driver's side seat. This cut right here is for the center. This one is for this long piece here. And then I have a little small cut there for the air vent one on the driver's side. And I still have plenty left over. So if I wanted to do the rear doors, I can do that. Or in case I make a mistake up front, this is backup. So now you guys know 5 by 1.5 is actually enough to do the entire car, assuming you don't mess up, or the front with some extra left over. So here is the outcome. Center console, I think, came out pretty damn good. I did remove the controls here, so it made it easier to cover those areas on the inside portion. The portions that you can't see could have came out better. I mean, I'm not expert at this. I think this is like my second time ever wrapping an interior trim like this, so I'm actually pretty happy with the results. But the sections that you can see once this is installed, it's pretty damn flawless. It's only when it comes to the edges there, and I guess a little bit of the cut on the inside portion. But again, you won't be able to see those mistakes or those imperfections when you install this. The vent trim right here that's on the driver's side, I think came out pretty good too. A little bit of a mess up here. It'll be hard to see that anyways once installed. The inside portion, I chose not to remove this vent, which is pretty easy to do once you remove the clips there. but I think it came out pretty good as well. There's a big enough gap in between where you can just cut right through it and then tuck in the rest with one of the tools that you get in the kit. So not too bad. I think it came out pretty good. And as you guys can see, I made sure to lay the vinyl in the same direction, vertical motion instead of a horizontal, both on here, the vent. And I didn't know what to do with the door handles, but I also did vertical, even though it kind of sits sideways. So anyways, whatever, we'll see what's up. These are definitely the hardest ones to do because of the sharp corners and the edges, but as you guys can see, once installed, you really can't see any imperfections. It isn't until you go on the backside that you see, you know, some of the ugly creases and stuff like that. But it came out pretty good. I have to flatten this side out a little bit. Once installed, you won't be able to see it. Same with this side right here. Came out pretty dope. Huge fan. My fingers are definitely sore. That's the one thing. It doesn't require any major skill to do this, but definitely you gotta have some strong fingers because they experience fatigue once you start stretching around the corners and stuff like that. This is the only piece I chose not to remove from the dashboard, and of course I paid the price because the cut is so wonky up there. The cut here is so bad as well. It exposes the wood that you guys can see here along the dash. It's so bad. Even the cuts around the vents are very, very bad. That could be because I have a cheap blade, but I'm definitely going to remove this and probably do it off camera once I get new material in, because unfortunately I do not have enough spare material to fix it right now. I'm going to go ahead and install the door handle trim, the vent, and the center console, and then we'll move on to the steering wheel. That little crease you guys see right here, that's because the trim had a crack, remember? So I just decided to wrap over it for this video. And as you guys can see, it doesn't sit flush because there are some clips missing. It was like that before I even removed the trim, so we'll take care of that eventually. I'm a big fan of how the center console one came out. Very, very clean. The vent one is pretty cool as well. This one's just clapped. So is that one. It doesn't even go on flush. The clips are missing, so I'm definitely gonna have to get new clips there. But yeah, I like the look for sure. Like I said, waiting on new material. Once it comes in, I'll pull the trim off and do this one off camera. Let's go ahead and move on to the steering wheel. That's the one modification that I'm extremely excited for and I really can't mess up. All right guys, so here's the new wheel. It's not ready to be installed yet, obviously, because we have to transfer over this trim right here, the buttons, and the back plate. So essentially the same thing I did when I installed the end performance steering wheel onto the F10 M5. Very simple process, and since I've already had experience doing it, it should be twice as fast this time around. The wheel looks absolutely amazing, guys. This looks so good. It's not over the top. It gives it like an OEM Plus feel. You got some extra added grip on the sides, and it's perforated leather, so it's very easy to clean and maintain. Alcantara, just because it looks good, it's on the top and on the bottom, but you shouldn't be touching it too much, so it should be able to last. I might end up actually upgrading the center trim here. They sell like the carbon fiber one. I think it'll give it like a little bit more flair. Other than that, this looks really good. Let's see what Ali thinks. Yes, working on my turret as usual. Does it look good or what?
Yes, it looks better than the clap one.
This almost looks like the one you have on your E90.
Kind of.
Very similar. Oh no, actually yours is like fully Alcantara, right? I really can't emphasize enough how much of a difference having an upgraded steering wheel just like this one does to the driving experience of your car. It's why we have custom steering wheels from Ozza Auto Wheel on our BMWs, because not only does it look really good, but it gives you a better feel when you're driving the car. Here's what the steering wheel looks like on my E90. It's a custom one, even more simple. It mimics like an M Performance steering wheel. Love it a lot. Got the orange there to match the calipers of the car. My M3 has like the full-blown optioned out steering wheel, Alcantara on the sides, and then you have forged carbon on the bottom and forged carbon on the top with an LCD display here with shift indicator lights. This is baller. Very expensive, but it's baller for sure. And then Ali has a very similar one to the one that I have on my E90. The only difference is it has like the, I guess, the area to rest your thumb here. This is full Alcantara with the Alcantara center trim And this looks really good too. Look at his interior, by the way, it's so badass. Installing a new wheel is pretty simple. There's a little mark right here where you would just line it up with the steering wheel mark, gently get it in there, wiggle it around, and it falls right into place. Then you just have to connect the controls connector. Can't forget the bolt. I always forget the bolt. Last thing to do is connect the airbag and line it up. Make sure you're not pinching any of the wires. That's it. This steering wheel looks absolutely amazing. It gives it a more sporty look. It just feels nicer in the hands. And of course, it's not clapped like the one that I had on before. It's so sad that I'm not going to be able to call the F30 clapped for much longer as we continue to upgrade everything visually on this car and mechanically as well. Also, I highly recommend that if you guys choose to go with an Alcantara steering wheel, get something like Sonax right here. It's a dedicated Alcantara cleaner. It'll help maintain it for long term, especially if you know your hands are always sweaty or you're trying to eat and drive at the same time, which I highly recommend you to do when you have Alcantara. And a small little brittle brush just like this, and it'll keep your Alcantara always feeling and looking new. Well, other than this interior trim that I'm going to do off camera and the clap screen, I mean, it's so clapped. God, I think the interior is starting to look very good, and I'm very happy. Gotta figure out what to do with the seats. But that's for another video. So what I'm going to do right now is clean the interior, give it a nice vacuum, wipe down the panels here, the dashboard, make it look very presentable, and then I'll show you guys the final results in cinematic sequence form. Then we'll take the car for a drive, give you guys my impressions on the steering wheel. Let's do it. This interior looks so good now. Honestly, I didn't know how I would like the vinyl wrap color and the texture, but I think it looks pretty damn good on a black interior. Definitely a lot better than the wood trim. And I gotta say, it's nice to hold on to a steering wheel and not have any like sticky leather residue stuck in your hand after you're done driving. I know a lot of you guys can relate. We've all kind of been there. If that's you, just do yourself a favor, upgrade your steering wheel. Or at the very least, get the steering wheel re-wrapped or something, because it's not good. I did forget to mention the flat bottom design here actually gives you a little bit more leg room, especially if you're a bigger person. So that's one thing to consider. But yeah, I love having these grips here on the side. They kind of like naturally rest here. Yeah, it feels very nice, and you feel like you're in much more control, especially when you're going fast and you're going around turns and stuff like that. It's very nice, very comfortable. So I gotta be super honest with you guys. My original plan was to wrap the interior trims here on my BMW just for the video and remove it as soon as I was done, and just replace the trims all together for the M Performance one with the Alcantara. Just wanted to show you guys a budget way to transform the interior of your car. But that said, I kind of dig this color, and I think it came out pretty good. I think I'll rock it for a little bit, and then I'll upgrade to the M Performance trim later on. But just wanted to let you guys know, I wasn't even planning to keep it on, but it came out that good that I'm gonna rock it for a little bit. If you guys like these interior transformation videos, I recommend you guys watch this video right here. It's on my E90. Did the steering wheel there and didn't wrap the trim. I just replaced it all together. Make sure and hit the like button before you guys leave, and as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.